President Biden speaking out in support of Finland and Sweden's bids for NATO membership after meeting with the leaders of both nations today. He says they are already among our closest partners on a range of issues, and Swedish and Finnish troops have already served shoulder to shoulder with us and NATO forces in Kosovo and Afghanistan and Iraq.
Sweden and Finland have strong democratic institutions, strong militaries, and strong and transparent economies, and a strong moral sense of what is right. They meet every NATO requirement, and then some. And having two new NATO members in the High North will enhance the security of our alliance and deepen our security cooperation across the board.
Their meeting comes as Turkey's president says he will oppose their admission to the NATO alliance. Let's bring in ABC News political director Rick Klein, along with our foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge in Ukraine for more. Tom, let's start with you and just talk about the significance of this and what it would be like for Sweden and Finland to join NATO, and what's at stake if Turkey were to block those aspirations for membership.
Yeah, Kara, for me, this is like the starkest moment that since Russia invaded this country, where you realise that our whole world has changed. Like the geopolitical dynamic has shifted dramatically. Liberal democracies are sort of jumping up and down now, like the United States, alongside their allies, to say, we're back, we mean business, we will stand up to Russia. Interesting that President Biden really didn't mention Russia in his address, but indirectly he did. He did talk about the power of democracy, the power of people power, and really the Finnish president was left to really talk about the Turkish dynamic, as you mentioned. That is the potential stumbling block for now. The Turkish President Erdogan, saying that he is not happy about Finland and Sweden joining NATO. The sort of appeal, I think, from the Finnish president was, look, we're going to take your security seriously and we're going to take all of your concerns. At the moment, Turkey is trying to say that some Kurdish groups, which Turkey considers to be terrorists, are harboured in Finland and Sweden. No real evidence for that. The Finnish president not going on the counter-offences to the Turkish president, but really trying to kind of present an olive branch and say, let's talk.
So, Rick, how could President Biden and other NATO leaders work to address Turkey's concerns and actually bring Sweden and Finland into the alliance, into the fold here?
Well, I think you're seeing an initial effort to tell Turkey directly that all of NATO will stand against terrorist organizations in any capacity, and that's one of the things is the consideration that Turkey is concerned about how Sweden and Finland have treated Kurdish-backed groups inside their borders in the past. I think the view from the United States is that this is part of the negotiating posture that Turkey has taken. There's also concern about being involved in weapons agreements that are broader than the United States. It seems like something that can be worked through, although Turkey has a history of digging in disputes like this and getting what it needs, getting what it wants before something like this can happen. It doesn't seem to be an immovable obstacle right now, and there's a lot that can be done in the bilateral relationship between the U.S. and Turkey, as well as the multilateral relationship. And as we heard from the Swedes and the Finnish, they feel like they've got a strong relationship themselves with Turkey, and they believe they can iron it out.
Tom, meanwhile, you've been reporting on this Russian soldier for us that's pleaded guilty to war crimes charges in Ukraine. Kind of turn the corner here for a minute. What does this mean for the war crimes investigation there and potential charges against Russian commanders, even Vladimir Putin himself?
Yeah, we just came back from the courtroom not far from here, Kira. Vadim Shishimarin is a 21-year-old Russian sergeant. He was in court today. He pleaded guilty and confessed to killing a 62-year-old Ukrainian civilian earlier in the war. And interestingly, he actually pleaded for forgiveness to the widow of that man in court today. And she also gave testimony, and she said that she wanted a life sentence for Shishimarin, but she said that actually she was open to the idea of him being involved in a prisoner swap, potentially for some of those Ukrainian soldiers that we've seen surrender at the Azovstal steel plant down in the southeast of the country, in this port city of Mariupol, which Russia now controls. So a really interesting session in court today. He's back in tomorrow. He'll be sentenced.
Indeed. Well, we're going to follow every detail with you, Tom. And Rick, the Senate now expected back here in the U.S. to pass a $40 billion aid package for Ukraine. Let's just talk about the impact of what that could have as we move forward with this conflict.
Well, it's desperately needed money, and it's been held up mainly because of the actions of one senator, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who wanted it to be offset by other spending, or at least have a conversation about its impact on the national debt. It was a little bit awkward when Senator Mitch McConnell, his fellow Kentucky senator, was in Ukraine with other Republican senators meeting with President Zelensky, when everyone knows that's been the holdup. This is money that's even beyond what the White House had asked for. Clearly, Ukraine has been burning through the aid that's already been allocated, but there continues to be bipartisan consensus in the United States about the need to give Ukraine basically whatever it wants, including a lot of unconditional aid that it can use to just shore up its own budget. The impact has been vast in Ukraine. American taxpayers are now on the hook for a growing share of it, but it does seem like there is a bipartisan and very broad resolve to keep that money flowing.
All right, Rick Klein, Tom Burridge there in Ukraine for us. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.